Hi. I made this mask about 4 years ago for Halloween, and I've had a lot of family members and friends comment that they really like it, and this is something that I've been thinking about trying to make a duplicate of. I spent a lot of time and effort to make this original mask. It's originally made out of paper mache and plaster and filler and epoxy, resin and paint and a lot of other things. And so what I've decided to do is try and make a copy of it. And what I'm going to use for making the copy is a product called Smooth On, which is a 2-part silicone. And with this silicone, I'm going to try to make a full mold, silicone mold of this. And after I make the silicone mold, I will then be attempting to slush cast some new copies of this. And this is the first time I've ever done this. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but we'll see. I've watched quite a few videos on YouTube, and if you check it out, there's a lot of good videos people have posted of them doing similar things. And from watching those videos, I think I have a good idea of how to do this. So, like I said, I've never done this before. I hope I don't screw it up. And if I don't, then I'll have a pretty cool mold and be able to make some more casts. And yeah, so to start off, what I will be showing you is how I'm going to mount the mask so that I can work on it. What I have here is what I use for mounting this on my wall. So when I'm not wearing the mask, I actually hang the mask on the wall. And what I've done is I've used a pipe, like a sprinkler piping or gas piping, and these are called floor flanges. And on my wall I have a 90-degree elbow that comes out of here with another pipe to another flange, like so, attached to the wall. And then I have this suspended from the wall, which I put the mask on. So for doing this, what I decided to do is I'm going to take I've taken this off the wall. I'm going to attach another flange and attach the flange to a 2x4 and the 2x4 to another piece of plywood on the bench, and that will give me a good surface to work on, and that way hopefully this doesn't move too much on me. So that will be the first step and the first part of me trying to get this mold done. Okay, so I have my 2x4 floor flange. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use some drywall screws to attach the floor flange to the 2x4. The reason why I'm using this 2x4 is because this pipe, lengthwise, the mask hangs about just above where the flange is, and I want a little bit of room underneath because I'm going to put some like cardboard underneath to allow for a lip when I put the silicone on. So I want this to be suspended a little bit off the table or off the plywood. So I'm just going to screw this in here. There we go. Like I said, better be safe than sorry. I don't really want to be working on the mask and then also the mask fall off or something like that. And then I'm just going to screw this onto the plywood. Now I'm going to have to kind of just eyeball it. I could measure it out, but I like to be kind of risky. So what I'll do is I'll get this, do one there. Now with this one partially out, partially through, I can then stick this exactly where I want it. Push that on there. I'm just going to blast this on, so. Like so. I can strain that out. Perfect. And I know that one was pretty close to center. So let's do one more. There. Maybe one more here. There we go. So that is not going anywhere. Then, pretty simple, I'm just going to slide this on. Tighten it down just a little bit. Like so. There we go. Then, take the mask. And just put it on there. There we go. Now I have a work surface to do the silicone and such on, and this allows for there to be dripping here, and I'm going to have like cardboard sitting lower, and that will allow me to have a lip, so when I do the slush cast I don't have to get right to the edge and then have the casting material slush out. I can put it, if the silicone's overhanging like an inch, that gives me an inch of play area. Then after I remove the silicone, the mold, the cast from the mold, I can trim a nice smooth bottom. So the next thing I'm going to do is get the mask ready for casting. Now, in pictures and videos and everything, like I'm sure just on the video you're watching right now, this looks perfectly smooth. But to be quite honest, there's some irregularities. Couple little pinholes from where bubbles were, and then on the front here, I'm sure it doesn't show, but there's these runs here. So what I'm going to do is, the thing is if I'm going to make casts of this mask, it'd be a lot easier for me to spend the time now to make this as perfect as possible, because then every time I do a mold or a cast using the mold, then I don't have to do too much finishing work. If I just do it the way it is right now, when I pull the cast out, it'll have all these irregularities because the silicone is very exact. The silicone will show every little defect. So what I'd rather do is take my time, fill in all the little bumps and holes, and smooth it out and make it as absolutely perfect as possible. I'd rather spend the time now so that whenever I make a cast, I don't have to spend, hours sanding it down and finishing it. So if I spend 2 hours on this to smooth it out and to finish it and make it perfect, then that's 2 hours I'm saving every time I do a cast using the mold. So I would much rather do it now and not have to do it later. And the other thing that I'm going to do is this fabric, when I first glued it in, was nice and tight. It's been a few years since I put this in, so the fabric on the eyes is starting to sag and droop. And instead of me trying to put cardboard in here and tape it and try to save this fabric, silicone's probably going to get on it and ruin it anyways. So what I'm going to do instead is, after I'm done doing all the sanding and filling, I'm going to pull this fabric out, and then I'm just going to put some nice cardboard or slick poster board or something on the back side as a smooth surface. That will just save me a lot of time trying to tape this off, and in the end, like I said, this fabric's already kind of drooping, so I'll just replace it anyways. It's really easy how I put it in. Let's see if I can show you. It's just glued in with a hot glue gun, big chunks of fabric, so I'll just peel it off. Once I'm done everything, then I'll just reinstall some new fabric. So pretty easy, pretty basic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some, I'll probably use, first I'll give this a nice light sanding, and then I'll use some drywall mud, and I'll use the drywall mud and just with my finger just fill in all these little indents. I'll just smooth them over. Then I'll do a nice light sanding just to smooth it all out and blend it in. And once I've got what I think is everything covered, I'm going to hit it with just some paint, just some like white paint that I have, because the paint will show any imperfections, especially under lighting. So if I take my time now, do it right, and I can fill all this in, sand it down smooth so it's perfect, and then I'll paint it, and then I'll be good to go. And the reason why it's not absolutely perfect is because the first time I did this, one, I was on a tight schedule and I literally painted this Halloween night. So I ran out of time for really finishing. And the other thing is that when I was sanding and filling and all that kind of stuff, I was also using epoxy. You don't see the imperfections. Once I painted it, then I realized, oh man, there's a lot of spots I missed. So now that I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to just fix it up, make it as good as I can, and fix those little imperfections that really do kind of bother me. So anyways, that's the end of this one segment. So the next part, I will be filling it in, prepping and sanding.